The idea of ball is life, for some, is true. While most enjoy the sport of basketball as a fun pastime, for others, it's a profession. With the joy the sport brings, it can just as easily bring misery. Throughout the history of the sport, both promising careers and games of pickup alike have been derailed by injuries. On the courts, dreams are shattered daily, and all it takes is one bad landing. This story isn't an outlier. It follows an aspiring baller who sadly lost years of work to one injury.
He could jump really high, but then his legs would fold right up like they were an accordion.
Once in a generation athlete that just, his body betrayed him.
He always got those down.
Yeah. Except that time.
Conrad Murphy, better known on the courts as McBuckets, wasn't an early bloomer in the interest of the sport. Not picking up a ball until he was almost 11, he had a lot to learn, but not a lot of time to learn it in. We sought out his parents to give us a better understanding of their son's early years as he followed these new interests into a church-based league.
He was in 5th grade. He came to us and said he wanted to play basketball. So after maybe a month or a month and a half of playing CYO practicing, then he was starting to pick up on all the terminology and the lingo and understood it a lot better and really took off, and that really was something he really wanted to do.
He kept coming up and asking if he was ever going to grow. We said probably not. Remember that? And so he started to practice his three-point shot, and that way he wouldn't have to tangle with the tall boys under the basket. He would try to shoot from beyond the arc in order to get it up there. So he became a pretty good three-point shooter, and coach used to put him in
kind of the go-to guy
in the tough games when they needed somebody with an outside shot. That would be Conrad.
After an illustrious career in the church league, Conrad took his sought-after talents to a small school in hopes of netting them some recognition in the sport. Shortly after his freshman year, which saw him shoot 100% from the floor, his body, sadly, started to betray him. I poked around at a local gym, eventually finding one of Conrad's childhood friends to weigh in on the time they shared together on the court.
Yeah, well, Conrad and I we played high school ball together. We were good friends. We always played pickup games, and it's really, really too bad what happened to him. A tragedy. Especially with his big accident when he just came down on one of his ankles, just destroyed his career. He sidelined him for months. It's really a shame. Brings a tear to my eye. Then he got addicted to Percocet.
As his body started to fail him in the professional sense, Conrad began to channel his passion more towards street ball. Playing pickup at parks and in gyms, the prodigy started to put his injuries behind him. With the future starting to look bright, he prepared for a foray back into the scene of high school ball just in time for senior year. Those plans sadly disappeared a week before tryouts. We reached out to some family that witnessed the scary fall that derailed his so-called comeback season.
That day was about a year ago. Right here in this very house, we were playing some pickup basketball and having a little dunk contest. Things were going well, but then we put the hoop up to, how high was it, Ronan?
Probably 10 and a half.
10.5 feet. He just wanted that extra half foot. Things were going well. He took 2 steps, exploded off his right foot. He was soaring like an eagle. And the next moment, he was splattered on the pavement like roadkill. His ankle landed on the base of the hoop, snapped immediately. Bones were ground down to a powder. There was nothing left. He couldn't even feel pain because there was nothing there.
After the devastating injury, Conrad fell into a bout of depression. How could the sport he put so much into betray him at every turn? We reached out to him for a comment, but he insisted he'd rather sit down for an interview and give his story a proper ending.
It's hard. It's hard when your body betrays you. You put countless hours in at the gym, and Just be like punished for that almost. With the injury, I mostly had to pivot my game to something less based around being crazy athletic, so I wouldn't, fall away into obscurity or anything. But going from being naturally gifted to having to put forth, 100% effort to get the same results, it really put everything into perspective. Off the court, I'm a big NBA fan, especially the Knicks. Seeing them lose by 40 every night, that's always a treat.
That's quite the emotional journey. But surely it ends on a good note, right?
Nah, not really.